August of 2022. I've been fighting with my girlfriend of 1.5 years, 4 months. And we do the whole toxic loop thing where I'd threaten to break up with her. We would split, and then a day later we'd figure things out, get back together. And I kept this up for months, on and off, just constantly going in this loop until mid-August. I'd finally had enough and I just finally decided to part ways with her, which is still the best decision I have made to date, because it's helped me to grow as a person, mature, figure myself out, where I'm lacking, the things I've done wrong, and now I'm able to look back and tell you guys where I fucked up. Now, obviously there's two sides to a coin. I wasn't very nice to her, so as a result, she wasn't very nice to me. But before I jump into everything, I just quickly want to mention 94% of you guys who watch my content aren't even subscribed. So if you're loving what you're seeing, you're enjoying it, you're finding value, please just hit the sub button down below. I would appreciate that massively. But with that said, let's jump straight in. My first big fuck up was thinking it was okay to treat my girlfriend like I'd treat a mate. So, when you get annoyed at a mate and you call him a fuckwit, or you call him a dumb cunt? I'm not even exaggerating when I say I would call her those names. I definitely feel a sense of regret about it, but you live and you learn. So I just wasn't very nice to her as a person. I'd call her names, I'd get very angry with her, and I wasn't a very mature boyfriend, which is something I'm going to discuss later in the video. I wasn't very mindful of the things that I said to her. I wasn't careful about how I spoke to her, because what you need to understand is you're speaking to someone of the opposite sex. You're speaking to someone who you supposedly love. Treat them with a little bit more respect. Have a think about how you treat your grandmother, okay? Have a think about how kind you speak to her. And I'm not saying for all of you, but certainly for some of you and for myself in this particular relationship, you don't treat your girlfriend anything like that. Now, if she's treating you horribly, saying things that are horrible to you, that doesn't mean you do that back. You get the fuck out of there if that's the case. So for guys and girls, if you're in a relationship where your significant other is calling you names, being disrespectful, just being out of pocket, not being very rational in situations like I was, you need to get the fuck out, okay? So if I was this girl, looking back, I would say, okay, he's not treating me very well, I'm out. Fair enough, because women will match your energy. If you're treating them like shit, you're being rude, vulgar, they're going to act the exact same way. But if you're being kind, loving, caring, nurturing, all that good stuff, they're going to treat you that way back. I know there's the whole saying, treat others how you want to be treated, but this is just female nature. They will match your energy as best as they can, subconsciously. This is just basic human psychology. There are two genders, which means there are two very different sets of psychology. So the way a man thinks is not the way that a woman is going to think. You're not going to match the girl's energy. You might be in a shitty mood. You're not just automatically going to flick the switch and be like, oh, she's in a good mood, now I am. Maybe the case for some of you, but just something to keep in mind. You treat her like shit, she's probably going to treat you like shit. Another thing I fucked up with was not setting clear boundaries. This led to her doing many things that pissed me off, led me to leaving her and then getting back together, and that's what started this whole toxic relationship loop. So she would turn her location off on Snapchat so I couldn't see where she was, ignore me, not tell me where she was going, and then I'd find out later that she was out with my friends doing substances and drinking and doing things she shouldn't have been. And yes, I know, boys, looking back, I should have just called it quits then and there. But it all goes back to maturity. I wasn't mature enough. I had very little life experience to know that that was super fucking bad and I shouldn't have been with a girl like that. Now, it's one thing to say, set clear boundaries, but you can't do that if you don't know what you want. So I wouldn't be getting into a relationship when I don't actually know what I want. If you're just lonely and you're looking for someone to fill that void, you're going to find the wrong person. It's like going to the grocery shops when you're hungry. You pick out all the wrong things just because you're hungry as fuck and you just want to eat all the shit. So looking for a relationship whilst lonely is bound to land you with the wrong type of girl. I think it's very important, especially nowadays, to find a girl with very similar vision and values. The problem with this particular relationship that I had was she was very, very different to what I was. I was focused on going to the gym, eating good food, getting plenty of sleep, sort of just focused on improving mostly in the gym. While she, didn't go to the gym, she wasn't too concerned about her diet. Not saying she was overweight or anything, but she just wasn't concerned about the foods she would eat. And on top of that, she would FaceTime me very late at night, which obviously goes back to the sleep aspect. I wasn't getting enough sleep because I would, get these calls from her late as fuck, and then she'd start talking and I'd tell her I'm going to sleep, but then, she'd stay quiet, go talking again. So it's very important to find someone who has similar goals, aspiration, vision and values, all that good stuff to you. Now, her goals don't have to be the exact same, but it's crucial that she does have goals. Because one big aspect of that relationship was that I was always busy, she wasn't. Okay, so whilst I'd be at the gym, throughout the week, it was just a rule. She couldn't come over to my house after school because I was at the gym. I was training throughout the week. The only times she could see me outside of school was on the weekends if she wanted to sleep over at my house. And then the rest of the days I was doing stuff. So the issue here was I had goals that I was working towards, and I wasn't willing to sacrifice those goals for her. I was willing to sacrifice her for the goals. But she didn't have any goals of her own. So in this time, she was doing things she definitely shouldn't have been, getting up to mischief like I mentioned earlier. And she was just trying to fill in the time because she couldn't hang out with me. Most of the time she was good, she was hanging out with her friends. She was looking for things to fill that time that she couldn't spend with me. Now, this is going to circle back into the conversation of maturity, because when she would get upset that I couldn't spend this time with her, I wasn't very emotionally available. I wasn't very emotionally mature, if that makes sense. So I'd sort of just curse her out, tell her that she was being a pussy, like literally. And I would tell her that she needs to stop being a sook, stop crying. Sometimes she'd cry because she hadn't seen me in a while. And it's not just like, oh yeah, treat people how you would want to be treated. Because, at the time I didn't give a fuck if someone spoke to me like that. You need to understand that men and women are polar opposites. We are not the same. So the better thing to have done would have been to sympathise with her, Oh, I'm really sorry I can't see you. It is a shame, but I've got my own goals to work towards. I promise I'll see you very soon. And then perhaps even persuade her to, start working on something of her own. Start doing something herself. Was it likely that she would? Fuck no. But at least it comes off as a more nurturing, caring way to go about it, rather than just saying, oh, stop being a fucking sook, stop crying, stop being a pussy. Right, but these are just some of the mistakes that I made in this relationship. Not to say there aren't fuck tons more. And bro, I can't stress it enough that you take all of these factors into consideration before finding a girlfriend, getting into a relationship, and just make sure that you keep them front of mind so you don't make any of these mistakes. Make sure you smack the fuck out of the subscribe button so you don't miss another fucking video, you boy. Stay grinding, G.